Hello everyone and welcome to SkShadow. Welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, and I'm sure you'll notice there is a slight difference. The car and the team logo and everything looks completely different. So yeah, I've done a bit of a design overhaul, and we've got a new livery which incorporates a bit of sort of darker racing green with the light green, and also getting rid of the blue strips, but there's still a little bit of blue. With the sponsor logos. You see, we had a few days to plan some activities, so I just filled it up to make sure we'd using all our time wisely. And then if we look at progress, we've got 1,200 points to spend, and our guy recommends that we go for an engine upgrade, but I'm not so sure. It's not really the department that we need to be upgrading, because if you look at the aero department, that is exactly where the upgrade should be. However, we can't do an aero upgrade because it's, the capacity is full, so we can't do it. So instead, I decided to go for a chassis upgrade where we do a minor weight reduction. So after both of our chassis upgrades come in, we should be one of the best chassis upgrades there are. And you can see I think about doing a resource point upgrade on the powertrain because we've got a bit of money. But we do have to bear in mind we do need to afford our teammates' contract renewal, which is 8.1 million, and we've only got 10.2. It is in 70 days, so we've got enough time, but I'd rather just make sure we've always got 8 million in the bank to be able to afford it. Instead, I decided to go for a couple of perks. So I've upgraded the power mapping and the media coaching and the development feedback perks, so we're going to get a few more resource points and interview questions, and engine wear is going to be a little bit less as well. You can see going into the race weekend, it looks pretty dry apart from practice 1, which is raining for some reason. So I'll definitely be avoiding practice 1. And this is just further confirmation that qualifying and the race are both going to be fully dry for us. So no issues there. You can see development-wise, we've made a little upgrade. So we've got a little bit closer to AlphaTauri and Ferrari. In fact, we are apparently slightly ahead of them. But yeah, we are way ahead of Alfa Romeo, Haas and Williams now. So we shouldn't be anywhere near them. The car should easily be getting into Q2. So we'll go to qualifying and find out. So, like I said, the ideal situation would be to have both of our drivers, us and Ocon, into Q2. Obviously, that hasn't happened very often, but that would certainly be the most ideal situation. Obviously, it does rely on both of us performing well, and on this track, for some reason, I'm just not particularly good at Sector 2. But we crossed the line with a 1:11.265, and after skipping ahead, that puts us down in 19th and our teammate in 11th. You can see just how much time we're losing. Just under a second slower. And you can see the majority of that is coming from Sector 2. We are also about 3 tenths slower in Sector 1. So we do need to try and make sure that we're a little bit quicker there. But you can see moving towards the Sector 2 line, we're already about 4.5, 5 tenths up now. And yeah, sticking tight to the apex, that is the way you go about it at Zandvoort by the looks of it. And yeah, we crossed the line with, I think that's at a 1:10.5, and that puts us in P14. So we are through to Q2. Should mean that Ocon is, yep, he is P12 with a 1:10.387, and yeah, we got 1:10.5. Unsurprisingly, Williams, Alfa Romeo, Haas, they all got kicked out. You can see my first run in Q2 was not very good, 1:11.0. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to go out for a second run if we want to have any success here. You can see going towards the Sector 2 line, we are faster, but not by a huge amount, only about 2 tenths. And then hitting the apex, and that gives us a little bit more speed, but a little bit of oversteer, so that is going to slow us down. But crossing the line, 1:10.6, so pretty good. We were better in Q1, but I don't think I would have been able to go much faster, and it wouldn't have mattered because Leclerc was 1:10.3, so we wouldn't have gained that much time. So yeah, P14 for us, P15 for Ocon, so we are side by side on the grid. And yeah, we'll see if we can maybe turn it into points in the race.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and Zandvoort, 25 miles away from Amsterdam and the host for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left. The main straight is 678 metres long and heads into turn 1, the Tarzan corner. With DRS down the main straight into the braking zone, that could be the best overtaking opportunity on the track. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz and Vettel, Stroll, Gasly, Kvyat and Alexander Albon, Norris, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, the engineer, Ocon, Hubert, Nicholas Latifi and George Russell, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Ireland and Nick de Vries. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So you see Bottas on pole. Maybe he can actually get some points for the first time in 4 races, especially with his teammate Hamilton down in P12 due to his penalty. But yeah, we'll start the race. And it's lights out and away we go. Looks like most people get reasonable starts. And we are alongside the McLaren of Lando Norris as we try to push him to our outside. He's still side by side with us, but he does end up staying behind us. So first few corners of the first lap, we've gained 2 places. We are up to P12. We've got Lewis Hamilton is 3 tenths ahead of us, and we're going to be fighting to keep Charles Leclerc behind us. I mean, on the performance chart, he is supposed to be slower than us, and he definitely has a slower engine. But you never know with Leclerc. You know, at the end of the day, the Ferrari is not that much slower than us. In a lot of areas, it's quicker than us. As we almost hit Hamilton there. We have to do a bit of avoiding action to make sure we didn't. But yeah, in terms of Leclerc, he's going to be quick. It's going to be difficult staying ahead of him, I think. Behind him is our teammate Ocon, so he is sticking in. And to be honest, we are actually sticking behind Hamilton as well. It's pretty much a bit of a train at the moment, as is the case with Zandvoort, such a short track. There's not exactly many overtaking opportunities. Pretty much the braking zone is turn 1, maybe, is a place. I suppose a second DRS zone if you're a lot quicker than the car ahead, because you don't have much time at all. But we're moving on to lap 3, and you can see in the second DRS zone we do have DRS. So we've managed to latch on to the DRS from being within a second behind Hamilton. Obviously Leclerc will have DRS as well as Ocon behind us. So you can see on the minimap behind us is a DRS train, but Hamilton made a crucial mistake there, lost traction. We managed to make it around the outside and yeah, made the move stick. He tried to go back on us side by side into the first corner, but we outbroke him to make sure that did not happen. But for the time being, we are ahead of, at this point, the 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I really don't think it's going to be long before he's coming back at us, especially as we are not in the DRS zone of Albon. As you can see, he's over a second ahead. And his arch nemesis, some would say, Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, is ahead of him. So, yeah, like I say, 1.2 seconds ahead. We are losing time. We are very much losing time trying to fight Hamilton. As you can see, moving on to lap 5, Albon is already 3.3 seconds ahead. As Hamilton tries to go around our outside there. And we're still side by side. But we seem to have the better of the traction. And he just backs off a little bit. Backs out of it. I mean, if he didn't, we'd probably have hit. So, yeah, still ahead. But he's very quick. You can see he's 2 tenths behind us at this point. We do have a very good engine though. That does help. And especially in combination with a little bit of rich fuel mix and overtake mode, it makes sure that we stay ahead. However, I'm thinking at this point, how long should I bother trying to fight Hamilton? Because inevitably, whether it's due to pit stops or just I run out of DRS to be able to defend from him, eventually he's going to get past us. I mean, we are making green sectors now, so we're managing to defend and actually keep a little bit of pace. As you see, we lost a fair amount of time. Albon is about 5 seconds ahead of us now, but throughout the next few laps we don't really lose much time on them. But yeah, I'm thinking, how long should I hold Hamilton up? Because you could see on the map there's a big old gap between us and the guys ahead, and then there's a huge train behind us, pretty much. So we're just causing everyone, including ourselves, to lose time by trying to hold up Hamilton here. I mean, in the back of my head, it's sort of like, well, it'd be cool to be able to see Bottas get a big haul of points, and at the moment, the racing points are actually doing pretty well. I think Prix is leading the championship. But yeah, you see, I don't put up too much of a fight there. He ends up slowing me down going into the first corner because he was going down the inside. But yeah, that is Hamilton ahead. Now the game for us is pretty much try and stay within the DRS zone of Hamilton, because once we're out of the DRS zone, that's when people like Leclerc and even our teammate can start to try and make moves. Like I said, this track is not the greatest for overtaking. In terms of driving, it's a really, really nice track. Like, compared to Monaco, which 1 is terrible for overtaking and 2 is not fun to drive, at least Zandvoort has that going for it, and that it is actually fun to drive. But you see us diving into the pits, and alongside us, Leclerc also dived into the pits, and we are the last pit box, so it takes a little while to get there, and we do it in 3.0 seconds. So, you know, enough time to make sure Leclerc does not end up ahead of us. And he has certainly lost time on us in the pit stops. He is 1.7 behind us now. Hamilton's 1.4, so we are out of the DRS zone of him. But it does look like Hamilton is coming towards a train of cars that I'm guessing haven't pitted yet, because we are P17. So there's still going to be a few cars that are yet to pit. Maybe some of the guys that started on mediums. But it won't be long until we are within a second, I think. As you see, we're already very much catching up with the guys ahead. Our teammate is in the pits, so we need to put the hammers on, as they say, to try and make sure our teammate does not effectively overtake us in the pits, which should be easy enough, to be honest. See Gasly and Hamilton fighting it out. Looking like Gasly's just about won this battle, or has he? No, Hamilton has stayed ahead. They were side by side for a long time there, but Hamilton has managed to make the move stick. But that's good for us, because our teammate has lost a little bit of time. He's 1.3 behind us, but we are within the DRS zone of both of them. As you see, they are going side by side, and that's going to slow them down a little bit. And will we be able to pounce? Gasly is staying very close behind Hamilton there. He's got his DRS open. He looks to the left. Hamilton blocks it off. That gives us the perfect opportunity to try and dive around the outside of Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. Still side by side. Is he going to back off? He just about has to avoid having a crash. And that is us ahead. So P12, back into P12. Obviously, we've got George Russell ahead on the mediums. I'm assuming he's yet to pit, because obviously we were P12 with Gasly ahead of us. So that should put us net P11 by the time Russell comes into the pits. Again, the game is trying to stay in the DRS zone of Hamilton. Because even though Gasly doesn't have the best engine, because the Honda engine seemingly wasn't very good, he's quite quick, to be honest. I mean, Gasly's always been a quick driver in this game. But blunders like that are certainly not going to help our cause. With a huge amount of oversteer there that I only just about managed to catch. And that has done the unfortunate thing of booting us out the DRS zone of Hamilton. And with Hamilton's pace, unless he makes another mistake, we're not getting back into it. So for the next few laps, it's going to be a game of defend against Gasly, which you can see we've done quite well. You know, we're lap 21. We are still ahead of him, 2 seconds. You can see just how close he's getting with a good old wing view, front wing view of Gasly. And as we go along, he taps us a little bit, and that smashes us into the barrier, ends our race along with Leclerc. So, yeah, not a good race. Well, it looked like we could possibly have had points, as we were running in, you know, P11, P12. All it needed was a couple of guys ahead to retire, and we'd have been we'd have been in the points. But nonetheless, Ocon managed to finish P12, which is, I think, one of the best results from him, because obviously he still hasn't got points yet, but we are slowly moving the car towards points positions. So, you know, in the future races, we might be regularly fighting for the points, maybe even podiums. But we'll have to wait for future episodes to find out. So, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that fantastic action. And other than that, that's it from me. And good night.